Alrighty, in this video we are going to be talking about versioning. So let me go ahead and just get this example going here. I'm going to go ahead and NPM init example 2 and leave everything else as defaults. Then I'm going to go ahead and npm install, I don't know, let's do Lodash, and then save it out into our dependencies on our package.json. So this will give us a package.json and a node modules, and it's going to be filling in our dependencies with Lodash. So what we're talking about in this video is what comes up after the name of the package, and that's the version. So every single package in Node uses what's called SemVer, or semantic versioning. It's really just this guideline that describes exactly what these three numbers mean and what it means to change these three numbers. Basically, the first number is your major version. A major version indicates breaking changes. So, for example, if I had written code that works on Lodash 2, it is not guaranteed that that code would work against Lodash 3. So, again, when you see the first number, think major changes. Think breaking changes. The second number is the minor version. The minor version are for backwards compatible changes. Usually minor versions indicate that a new feature was added, or a new API was added, or something like that, that it might be new and cool and awesome to have, but doesn't break your existing code that depended on a previous minor version. So whether you're using Lodash version minor version 10 all the way up to Lodash minor version 999, if such a thing ever exists, on the major version 3, you can be safe to do that. You can know that your code is not going to break with a minor version change. The last number is your patch version. A patch version is simply a bug fix. So patch version is not expected to add any features. It is, however, expected to fix performance or a bug or something like that. Patch versions are also considered to be backwards compatible. So 3.10.1, code written against Lodash 3.10.1 will be compatible with code written against Lodash 3.10.2, for example. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about semantic versioning, there's a great site that you can go to and read about it, and that is SemVer.org. So it goes on and on. It talks about some interesting things. It also talks about pre-release versions that we're not necessarily too interested in this video. We'll see an example of a pre-release version in the future, but for now, we're not going to worry about it. But anyway, that's just if you want more information. This video is intended to cover basically what you need to know as a consumer of Node packages. Alrighty, so that's SemVer. That covers these three numbers. But you'll notice that there's this symbol right here, this caret symbol. Now, what that means is it indicates a range. So in Node, in different Node package versions, when we describe our dependencies, we can pass in a range of versions that we want to grab. So, or we can pass in just a straight up version. So if I deleted that caret, every person who downloaded this package.json file and did an npm install will always get 3.10.1. But we can modify that with these little range things, and there's many different syntaxes for the ranges. But in this case, what this does is the caret says, go ahead and treat this as the minimum version, 3.10.1. But make sure that you never download anything that has a major version that's greater. So this is basically almost equivalent to us having said 3.x.x, which, by the way, is also a valid range. We could do 3.x.x, and it'll grab anything on the major version 3, but nothing on the major version 4. So the caret is a really popular choice for doing a range. And again, the reason is we don't expect to see breaking changes in minor versions, nor do we expect to see breaking changes in patches. So we can safely say that we want to go ahead and grab everything on the major version 3, even if new features were added. But we do want to specify that we want at least 3.10.1. There's also the tilde operator, you'll see, or operator, range. You'll see this used a lot as well. And what this does is it's similar to the caret operator, except it locks down the major and the minor version. So the tilde is going to work on 3.10 and then any bug fix after or equal to .1. Now, deciding between the two is typically going to be the only choice you have as far as when you download versions, unless you have a specific version you need for compatibility reasons or whatever. Deciding between the Tilde and the Caret really comes down to, I guess a trust between you as a package consumer and the package authors. When I say trust, I mean SemVer and versioning is literally only decided by the author of the package. I mean, they can introduce as many breaking changes as they want and then commit that as a bug fix release and only increment the patch number, and then everybody's code breaks and everyone freaks out. Now, there are people out there who generally don't trust lesser known or smaller packages with allowing them to change anything but the patch number, and so they'll use the Tilde in that case. For very high profile, very well maintained packages that have lots of tests and all that fun stuff, generally you should have some level of implicit trust with your package author and specify the Caret, because, I mean, in general, you'll want the people who download your package to get the dependencies that include things like performance improvements and all of that stuff. So those are basically the ways that we can work with versioning in Node. There are other range syntaxes, and they come from basically this guy right here, which if you're interested in learning more about ranges, you can hop on over to the NPM Node SemVer package, which we're going to download in a second and play with. But this gives you a really nice description of all of the different range syntaxes that you can use. The only time you would ever really need the more advanced range syntaxes is in the case where a package starts misbehaving, to where, well, you want this version, but you don't want that version, but you can do this version between that version, and so on. Then you might have to start getting into the more advanced package names, or rather package range version ranges, in order to make sure that your dependencies are satisfied appropriately. So I think that's about all I wanted to talk about here in this video, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward as far as versioning goes. Pay attention to versions. You can always do an NPM upgrade or another NPM install to grab the latest version that your range specifies in order to grab the latest versions of the packages. I recommend doing that periodically, because a person downloading your package for the first time or your project, when they do an NPM install, they're going to get the latest versions that satisfy your ranges, but you might not have done an NPM install or NPM upgrade for a while, and you might be running on the older versions of that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. So I guess we'll wrap up our thing about NPM in the next video, talking about the basic scripting that we can do with it. So we'll see you guys then.